I want buyers and sellers to have choice, to make the agreements that they want to make. I want them to have freedom to pay or not to pay a commission, and to who to pay it to. And I think our role as a committee is not, our directive is to protect the consumer in our statutory directive. We're not very clear that we're operating independently under that directive. And I think it's very clear in our discussion here that that's what we're all going after. And so I would want us to keep that in mind and keep that in focus. And where I see this leading is more transparency, more disclosure. Whether we end up with enforceable agreements in our documents or not, the underlying thing is make sure we preserve each side's ability to fully negotiate the deal they want. Don't restrict their ability to say, on their ability to pay or not to pay and who to pay. And to just make sure whether it's enforceable or not, it's clear. And that's not necessarily a simple task, and that will change depending on how all these lawsuits come down, which can be years into the future. So in my view, we'll do our best. We'll try to accommodate it, but I really want to try to keep it simple and that freedom of contract open.
One of the silver linings of this whole thing is that buyer agents now will start doing buyer rep agreements. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to buyer agents and I say, well, what does your buyer rep agreement say? And they say, oh, I didn't want to offend the buyer by asking them to sign a buyer rep agreement. But now it's going to be important.
I frequently about the S.
Because this is about consumers and transparency and them getting the representation that they deserve and knowing how someone's going to be compensated.
Us protecting the consumer by having a little bit more clarity now and then going to a subcommittee to work on an addendum is us doing what we're created to do. We need something now to provide the clarity because there's not that clarity for the consumer in any way, shape, or form with what we're seeing live every single day in brokerages.
We provide the tools of the trade for the practitioner, and I think this is going to be one of them, and I see the addendum as being that. And to me, it's a disclosure of the understanding of the parties and an invoice, if you will, to the title company, that everybody knows who's paying who, and I think it's just going to make the transaction and the transition that much easier. So I like the direction we're going.
That we can make here that.
May I give option 3? Just delete a fee. Why do you need it?
No.
Why do you need it?